Hi friends, it's Brittany at Ink and Papyrus and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited you're here with me today. We are creating one of my favorite projects, and that is whimsical watercolor doodles. Today we are creating some pieces of ephemera with a lot of fall and nature themes. This is going to be a very relaxing project. I always say when we kind of whittle away at the supplies that we're using and we make something into a really simple process, that is often when we are at our most creative. So I'm really looking forward to this. So these are all kind of fall themed, and I just want to show you a couple of the ones that I've already made, and then we'll get to start crafting them. So one of my favorite kind of fall themed watercolor doodles to make are these little woodland creatures. You see the raccoon and the hedgehog. I'm going to show you a few different ways to make these hedgehogs. So very easy. And then we're going to make, of course, some pumpkins. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you this is because I really love the ones that I recently made. I think they just look a lot more like pumpkins, and it took me a while to kind of figure it out. I know that sounds silly, but before, my pumpkins looked like this. So just a couple of different brush strokes to like shape the top and the bottom, and then the angle at which you doodle really makes all the difference in the world. Of course you can make different shapes. This is not complicated at all. This I put baking soda over. It didn't work as good as salt. If you've never painted anything in watercolor and put salt over it, it adds, I have some on my desk. We'll do that today. I'll show you. It creates this amazing effect that really makes things look so much more interesting. I did some moths. I don't really like these. I really need to work on these, so I don't think we'll do those today. I did some leaves. Again, these are kind of boring. The leaves that I did, maybe not. They'd look actually really cute in a journal. They look a little bit boring as is. Today we're going to focus on the pumpkins because, like I said, they're so easy, and just once you get the technique down, they look so much better. Like, this kind of looks flat. This is kind of how I was making them before. It's all in just the position, like how you're doing your brush strokes, the doodling over and leaving a little bit of white space. Like, that's before. This is after. Much better, right? Looks a lot more like a cute little pumpkin. Okay, once we do our pumpkins and our woodland creatures, I want to do some cozy mugs with you. And I know these don't look that special yet, but that's because they're still on this white page and we still have to doodle and cut them out. Here is one that I've already done. Yes, I think we skipped fall and went straight into winter, but nevertheless, I guess ignore this one. I don't know, I put this, so I want to show you guys too, and you can get this for just a couple of bucks on Amazon. Layering regular watercolor and then putting some metallic watercolor over it creates this incredible, like, lustrous effect. I would definitely recommend. See just the little splotches? Love it. Love. So I'm going to show you how to make these two. And we're going to take a few minutes I want to show you, because obviously the concept, the technique of creating these is really easy. But I want to show you that once you let them dry, you may have had an idea in mind for what you wanted the mug to look like. But we're just going to go along the natural contours and blobs, and it's going to lead you down the path of probably a different design than you intended. Like, I splotched some metallic paint over here, and to me now it kind of looks like a campfire mug. So you never know what you're going to get. Just roll with it is the point. So let's get to working on the doodles. Why don't we, let's do some woodland creature ones first. Okay, I have to say I like the second one much better. I think part of it is, well, I fixed his eyes, and also I love like the flowers that I painted. His face just looks a lot softer and a lot less cat-like. I think I also made his ears too narrow here. And you see when they're like wider, they look better. But obviously it's a matter of personal preference, and I just want to point out I did the second one probably in a quarter of the time as I did the first. So you definitely just get better at this as you go. And it becomes that much easier. So I just want to show you, I have a gel roller, but this isn't like completely dry yet, and I'm being very impatient, and whiteout markers just work better because you can just put the pigment on. Alright, let's see if we can make this one look a little less psychotic. I don't know. Okay. It still looks very much cat-like. Very, very cat-like. He scares me. He belongs in the forest. Okay, well, you know, so I'm gonna do one in, I'm gonna speed this up, but I just want to show you. I feel bad this is a tutorial and I'm like kind of mucking around and not, I'm kind of like, oh gosh, well, see how easy this is, and then mine turns out to look like a demon cat. So I'm just going to show you real quick. I want to do one more with you guys, okay? Alright, make sure you leave plenty of room for the ears up at the top. Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you, soften this color out a little bit, make it come in with a really light color, and then add some dimension by adding a little bit of water to it, and using a couple of different shades of that color. And I think you'll get the best results that way. See? I think it just adds some dimension, and especially if you're doing like wet on wet, I think it makes a huge difference. Okay. I'm gonna come down and just create that nice little mask he has. You wanna bring that mask down, and you wanna bring, when you're painting his eyes, you want them about at the, come down to the level of the mask. So we're gonna put him at a slant and make sure you keep him thin. That's what gives him the cute little face. Bring them down to about mask level. Okay. And we're gonna give him a little nose. Soften these out. Okay. It's amazing just with a few differences how much it makes an impact on what his, like, the expression on his face, like whether he looks like a happy raccoon or a rabid. So I'm gonna call this we're gonna call this Rocky the rabid raccoon. Alright. Give him scruff. Give him scruff. Bring his body a little inward like that. Okay. Give him scruff. Scruff, scruff, scruff. You know, he's going to be a shorter, fatter raccoon, I can tell you that. Alright, now we're going to bring his little arm in. And his little paw. We're going to bring his little paw out here. Alright. And his little feet. And then we're going to extend him the tail. Don't overthink the tail, just go with it. Just make sure you leave enough room for him to hold something if that's what you want him to do. I feel like it maybe should be a shorter, fatter tail. I think the ears really make a big difference too. You don't want them super sharp. That's the other reason why I think this one looks demonic. He's got the tall, thin ears. All right. Now, I have him holding. Would it look silly if he was holding balloons? Why not? Let's have him hold some balloons. That's not very woodland creature like though, right? But oh well. Why not, right? Let him hold some balloons. I guess we can draw highlights with the white pen. Oops. That's the danger of being impatient. All right, nice. Lovely. That is cute, right? And I think it'll look even cuter once we add the little bits of detail in here. Okay, these, especially when even he looks a little sketchy at best. I have to say, I think this and this is my favorite. So let's look at the facial features. So one, the long slanted eyes, right, helps. The more kind of square and less pointy ears. And the other thing I think I put, okay, his ears are sitting up higher on his head. See how these are kind of out to the side? Make them sit a little bit higher in the head. I think that would look good. Make sure you have plenty of scruff in the face. Maybe though, I don't know. And then the tail, like have it be broad and then taper off. These are kind of too long, but I had to do that because I kind of started out too far. So when you're doing the tail, maybe start at the base of the tail, right? And then that way you can kind of make it into more of a triangle. So he looks more raccoony. Let's see if we can, I think this needs to be a little bit taper more, right? So because this is long, you need to kind of bring this out, right? And then have it taper off. There we go. Same thing with his tail. Now there's no saving Rocky the rabid raccoon, but we can try anyways, right? There we go. Actually, I don't think his tail is that bad. It's just everything else that looks a little demonic. Anyways, so those are our raccoons. Again, practice makes perfect. Let's do these little hedgehogs next. I want to show you. So this one I sketched out a little bit ahead of time, just to try and get his proportions right. So honestly, to start, it kind of almost looks like a seal nose. So you're gonna kind of go, the reason why I think he's so cute is because he's like looking up towards the sky, and it really kind of emphasizes his cutest little features. You don't have to do it that way, but that's how I kind of wanted to create him. And then right at the end of your line, you're gonna come down and make his little eyeball, okay? And then we're just gonna have his little arm be here. Okay, this is nothing too serious. This is why I say it's totally optional to sketch this out ahead of time. I think I did it more than anything because it made me feel better. So first what we're gonna do is come in with a lighter color. You really kind of want to water this down. You want to use a darker, so I'm doing browns. So you're definitely going to want a darker brown for the hedgehog spikes and for his arm and his feet. Okay, but you can paint over your lines. It's totally fine. Add a little white space maybe. Okay, it doesn't have to be super well defined. These truly look great no matter what you do. All right, now we're gonna add some orange in the brown, I think. And again, these look good. So start kind of broad, okay? So start with some like broader bristles, and we're gonna spike it out at the end. Almost like you're making like little petals. Okay, and come in at different angles. I think that just makes it more interesting. And you're gonna want his spikes to go all the way to his feet. Okay, so now, see how easy that was? So we've done some broad ones, and now let's come in with a different color and make some hedgehog spikes. And it's okay that it's still wet. I think it does a good job of blending the colors together. Okay. And then what you can do, you want to bring them up all the way to that line and just use your brush and just kind of work out kind of what you've already done. And remember, the whole area doesn't have to be covered. It looks better if it's like there are areas that are really well filled in, and then other areas where there's some nice white space. See? So, and then before you know it, you have this cute little guy. Now, this bled out a little bit more than I wanted it to, but that's okay. Because, now you really should wait for this to dry, okay? So don't follow my example. Let's draw with his lines. Come around with his feet. When the watercolor paint inside dries, we're going to give him some nails. give him his little arm. Ideally, you would want that to be smaller. It kind of bled out, so I didn't really have a choice. Okay, I think he looks actually very cute. If you want, you can give him a little ear too. Cute little ear. And there you have a really easy hedgehog. And I'm telling you, when you have these cut out, they look even cuter. Like, you can put this anywhere in your journal to decorate it. You can put these in the cover of your journal. You can use them as page decorations. You can use them as like signature tabs. I mean, like, you can literally use them, the larger ones, like the mugs, you can use them as tuck spots. You could just put them in a little envelope and send these to people as happy mail so they can decorate their own journals with them. Or you can send these, if you sell your journals, you can, or you're gifting a journal, you can put these in an envelope to give to people to decorate their own journals with. So, all right, I just want to show you really quickly how to make these hedgehogs, because these are super easy. Definitely doesn't require as much thought as the other one. You can make these in all different kinds of positions. Like, basically all you have to do is make some lines whichever way you want the hedgehog's body to be facing, and then draw a snout. So for example, if I want a purple hedgehog, I'm gonna come in, some lighter stuff. We'll make this sleepy one, okay? Come down. And if you make the one that's like laying down, you want to kind of just create like a C, almost like the letter C. Like, how cute is that? And then same concept here. If you want him to be standing, you just want to create a larger, fatter, longer area of bristles. And then where your bristles start, come create his snout, give him his little belly and little paws. You can give him an ear. You can give him his little arm there. The only thing I didn't like about this, making the pointy snout is what really makes these guys look like hedgehogs. Okay. It almost looks like a dog snout kind of. So make sure you do your come in and then do your pointy snout, okay? And if you kind of make a C shape like this, then all of a sudden you have it kind of laying on its side and it looks like it has a nice long tail. Next, I want to show you pumpkins because I was so frustrated with these. I literally could not get them right, and then once I started getting them right, they became like my favorite thing to doodle. Now I have to show you, you don't necessarily have to draw over these, but I think it just gives it so much more depth. When you start making your pumpkins, if you're anything like me, maybe you started like this, with just some basic lines and them looking really flat. And the truth is that's just because you have to get used to the angle at which your brush comes in, and I'll show you in just a second. So make sure you leave room at the top for the stem, and the best way to do this, I think, is to make a shape like this. Now, where I was going wrong was I was making the shape like this and then bringing it all the way in, so it had a really narrow point. You don't want to do that, okay? You want to have it be a soft base, okay? Before, when I was doing it, I was making it like this. Almost like a diamond. You want a nice, soft, round base at the bottom, okay? You don't want it to completely come to a point, all right? Now, once you do that, what we can do is we can add some different colors, okay? Let's just get this structure first. Now, leave a little bit of white space. Now this isn't a total deal breaker, you don't have to, but personally I like the look when there's just the littlest bit of white space here. And we're gonna come down and go like this. Okay. Now, previously what I was doing was bringing this all the way around. You kind of don't want to do that. You kind of want this to have a little ridge here, this to have a little ridge here, this to have a little ridge here, right? Okay, now you can stop at 3 lines, but I think it looks nice when there's 4. I like a nice fat little pumpkin. Okay. And you do kind of want to soften it and bring it together, but you still want to have those nice little kind of ridges at the bottom. You don't want it to be you don't want this to be flat. You don't want to go like this and completely flatten it out. I'm just showing you all the mistakes I made when I was first starting to paint these. Okay, and even if it doesn't look perfect, which it's not going to, that's totally fine. That's okay. Now, I did not leave as much room as I should have up top. What you are going to do is come on in with whatever color you want, and this is kind of optional, but I think it looks so much better if you put some dots here. It kind of looks like the stem was made to sit there. Okay, as you can see, it's kind of coming together, right? It'll look so much better once we come in there with those doodles, okay? All right. Now you don't have to have these, you could have this sit lower here. Like, see how these come all the way up? You could have it sit lower. Okay, if you don't like that look, you want the stem to sit totally in, but in real life it doesn't really do that. It kind of, some of the edges are lumpy and bumpy and are raised, and that's okay. All right, so let's do some of the prettiest ones. I think are the odd colored ones that you would not normally think of as being a pumpkin. Beautiful. So I'm telling you, the doodles is the most important part. That's how you really get these to look like these nice 3-dimensional little pumpkins. Okay, as promised, we are diving back into these pumpkins, and this is the last thing that I have to show you, and I hope you're crafting along with me at this point in time, because like these are so much fun. Yeah, I like, once you start making these, you really can't stop. They're addicting, because then you want to try it in every color and every rendition, and then once you start making pumpkins, you want to make leaves, and then you kind of want to make the woodland creatures, and you know, you got to try everything out. So, okay, sorry, focus, the pumpkin. Okay, so what you want to do, come along and just outline your stem very loosely. Okay, you can draw little fancy things here if you want. That really honestly doesn't matter. What you want to do is start here, okay, and we want to bring this middle part up and make sure you give it that rounded base like we were talking about, okay? Now it doesn't matter, the lines, if you're off kilter a little bit, it's totally okay. It kind of adds to the magic. Now you want to think of where your next segment is, and you can either make a straight angle and come down like that, or you can kind of make a little curvy top to it, whatever you're feeling. Obviously not all your pumpkins are going to be the same. Now, what you want to do here is just make a little ridge and bring it to your next line, okay? Ridge, bring it to your next line. Curvy little top, bring it to your next line. And as you can see, they are not symmetric. This is much thinner than this. I screwed it up a little bit, but that is okay. And make it kind of like a C and bring it to the next line. Okay? All right. Make this stem a little bit different. Not have it come in all the way. I'm going to give it that broad look. I love this one. Just have fun with it. Make some squiggles just because, you know? Now I blended this out a little bit more so those well-defined lines are kind of gone. That's okay. We still know how to draw a pumpkin. So I'm going to round out a little bit more. And look how cute those are. And I guarantee you they'll look even better when they're cut out. You can make little like jack-o'-lantern faces. You can add some more details. Totally up to you. So I'm gonna get these decorated and cut out and show you the final products. Let's go ahead and make these mugs. Now, the basic shape of the mug is so incredibly easy. Really, all you have to do is decide what size and shape you want your mug to be. Okay? You have the cozy fat little mugs, and then you have this like campfire mug that looks kind of like Yeti-ish to me, and then your classic like large round mug. See? Now this is like spooky season kind of to me. The black and the purple, very like witch's brew. I may even like put some digital images on this to decorate this one. I want to point out this one that I find really cute. I actually took, after I painted it and made the brown like coffee part inside, I took a God, what's the name? Like a putty knife, and put some modeling paste on to kind of make the foam like the whipped cream top. So there's so many different ways that you can customize these. These little like pinstripes. This is obviously some of that metallic paint. Blended some colors in together. You get the drift. So let's do just kind of your classic mug. Now I have to tell you, you have to be patient with these because this, for this one, it actually really is important that you let the actual mug dry before you fill the center with your tea or coffee or whatever you want to fill it with. Okay, this part you can either kind of come in straight or you can flare it out and make it look like a really fun mug. The handle, it could be a circle, it can be kind of like square-like, whatever you're feeling. I'll show you how to cut these out. Really all you have to do is, well, what I like to do is start this, like after everything is dry, I'll take my craft knife and make a line here, and then finish it out with the scissors. And I think that's the best way to get a clean like handle. These I like adding a lot of water, and I like doing wet on wet techniques here because I just think it can make these so much more interesting. Make little designs. See what I'm saying? This looks like a party. I guess this isn't very fall and festive, but the coziness of the mug really reminded me of fall. I'm gonna set this aside, and then I want to show you guys a couple of the strategies I use for decorating these cute little mugs. Okay, as for our cozy mugs, I just want to show you guys. So kind of embrace the lines, especially like if you saw here, I did wet on wet and blended a bunch of colors in. Sort of embrace that pattern and use it to develop something else. So for example, I kind of bled in a little bit of metallic paint here. Maybe we'll do something with that. Obviously I drew a heart here. Kind of only makes sense to kind of finish that out. Whenever I think of sea hearts, I think of like faux stitching. So I'll probably, let's see, I just want to get the basic outline of this. I think the handles look better too if you kind of go under them like that, and you don't want to close this off. You see what I'm saying? Like leave that open, leave this open, leave this open. You guys probably know all this already. And if you're really looking to use these in your fall journals, you know, do whatever you feel like it gives it that nice cozy vibe, you know? This is definitely gonna look great in like a woodland journal. Another hedgehog, so easy to make. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. Another raccoon that does look like a raccoon with his cute little flowers. A slightly scary looking raccoon with balloons. And this is Rocky, the rabid raccoon, remember? You know what, Rocky the rabid raccoon is kind of growing on me. Looks a bit demonic. Clearly the features were not right. Not all is well with Rocky, but you know what? He's growing on me. I feel like instead of that little blue flower though, he should have a pitchfork, just saying. And finally, cozy mugs. Remember the one with the peppermint? This looks like it belongs straight out of the movie Frozen. So there's so many different ways to decorate these. I found some ribbon or some applique in my little grab bag of fabric scraps, and I just thought it looked like a nice cozy little, what's the thing? Like a cup holder, you know, like the thing you put on your cup to keep from like burning it or burning yourself. Like, look how cute, and it gives texture, and I love it. This is clearly a Halloween themed one. I just bled some black into that orange color and added a couple fussy cut decorations. I didn't do a whole lot to that one, but it's adorable nonetheless. I added some rhinestones, you know, those nail applique things I was showing you earlier. A little mini, I think I may actually make this into a paper clip. It's like the perfect size. This is the one where I put on the modeling paste to get that nice little dollop of whipped cream. I love the doodles on this one. Love, love, love. And I was able to cut around those little rib things I made, the purple ones, to kind of make it look a little more, the mug a little more interesting. Just think, how many different mugs have you ever seen, right? None of them are the same. There's so many ways you can customize these. I added a little gold gilding wax to the text and put that cat on. So you can start layering paints to decorate, but you don't have to leave it at that. You can use stickles and words, numbers, digital images, fussy cut things, die cuts. This is another little nail applique thing to decorate this mug. I don't really know what shapes I was making, but I think it works. Love that. This purple one, very cozy, very beautiful. Love this one. This is adorable. So I painted stripes on the mug and then decorated within the stripes and added one of those little nail applique things. It's so interesting. I've never seen anything like it. All right, this is some stickles and some hearts where, like I said, you know, just use the lines and the natural watercolor patterns to inspire you to draw something. You know, you might not know what it looks like at the time, but when you go to decorate it, ideas will come to you, I promise. Very, very simple. Ah, this is one of my favorite with the faux stitching and the heart. I could make a whole slew of these. Those are so cute. I love this orange, or this yellow and metallic gold. You know, I left a couple of these kind of undecorated. I may use them as is, but I may also just decide to decorate them differently depending on where I stick them in my fall journal. Obviously, I have a ton of them, so maybe I'll use them in a different journal next year and want a little bit of a different theme. So you can always start these and complete, you know, your decorations later, depending on how you want to customize them. But this was such a fun crafting session. Again, one of my absolute favorite things to mass make, and I adore these. And again, when we're not like bogged down by a ton of different supplies and expectations, oftentimes we're at our most creative. So a couple of hours down and we already have so many tons of pieces of ephemera to decorate our journals with. I hope this inspired you to do some cozy fall crafting, and I hope this inspired you to make some of your own simple pieces of ephemera at home. I adore this project so much. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more haphazard, whimsical projects like this, hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you the next time.